Yeah, I would like to start with introducing Swift Media a little bit more, which is our parent company. Blitz is, of course, our most famous and well-known product. It basically is what we are known for, which is a gaming stats and coaching product. But we also have other products. For example, we have 2 Discord bots that used by millions of users to manage their Discord servers. In addition, we are also working on some AI initiatives more recently. Of course, Blitz is the one that I personally love because I'm a gamer. I come from a gaming background, and I am most invested in. Blitz is a way for a player to get better, to be honest. The way it works is we collect a lot of data from games, from the game we support, and then we show you in all kinds of ways, not only just pure stats, but we also try to coach you into how to become a better player, how to engage better with the games that you are playing, and how to utilize your time better, because sometimes you're wasting time finding stuff that we can just tell you how to do it quickly. I started my career with Oracle, the giant database company that we all now know is also making huge strides in AI now. Oracle was great. I spent almost 13 or 12 years over there in 2 different teams. I learned a lot. I worked with some really, really smart people. But at the end of my career over there, I felt that I want to do something that I like, and I like gaming. So I left Oracle and decided to join a small gaming startup called Phoenix Age. At that point, we were working on a game called Underworld Empire. Underworld Empire was a very cool mobile game. It did very well in the market too. I think at one point we were at number 10 of top grossing. That was great. Phoenix Age was eventually acquired by Kabam. So I worked for Kabam a little bit. And then me and some of the guys from Kabam, we went and started our own gaming studio called Zombar Studio, which was the most fun experience I ever had in my career. Starting something, they had started and I joined a little late, but it was incredible. I would say, in terms of building something new, that was my first real experience in building something new. Unfortunately, we ran out of money on Zombar Studio, like a lot of other gaming startups, but we learned quite a bit, and it, I think, really changed my perspective on building things. From Zombar Studio, I went to another small gaming startup called CrowdStar. CrowdStar was starting a team around making an interior design game at that point. So I joined early on, became the head of backend, built and released Design Home, and that did super well. And by the time I had left Design Home, it had already crossed $1 billion in revenue. We had 1 million daily active users. It was one of the most popular games I worked on. Design Home and CrowdStar was acquired by Glue at that point, which eventually became part of EA. So Design Home is now part of EA. After 4 years at Design Home, I thought I wanted to do something new again. And again, that feeling that I had with Zombar Studio was again building to do something cool. I left Glue and joined a small children's gaming team. We were trying to make asynchronous games that a grandkid can play with grandparents. Very novel idea. And we had a device that we can use to interact with the game. I had huge fun making that game and watching kids play. Unfortunately, what we learned was that getting people on the platform has been very difficult. So we didn't get a lot of traction with that model of asynchronous gaming. Eventually pivoted off to become more of a reading and hardware-oriented platform. At that point, I left and joined another gaming company called Envy. And they were starting to build their next fighting game. Envy is known for fighting game. Their tech, especially their networking tech, is extremely good at fighting games over the internet. You might know them from Power Rangers Battle for the Grid, which is their console game. They also have a mobile Power Rangers fighting game, which is also fairly popular. So they were building a new product at that time where you can build a mech on your own with the parts that you own. And then fight them with other players. Very novel idea. That was another cool project I worked with. But that project was pretty much tied into the Web3 ecosystem, the crypto ecosystem. So as you know, crypto has been have seen their ups and downs. And exactly. And at that point, when we released Red League, it was going through what we call a crypto winter. So even though the game was extremely fun and still around, by the way, we didn't get the traction we sort of deserved. I left Enway and joined Blitz, of course, Swift Media. And from the last 1 year, I've been working on, Blitz and some of the other Swift Media products. That's a great question. I think there are a couple of things I would like to highlight. Starting, I think, maybe 2 to 3 years, AI has completely changed the game. Software engineering as an industry, as a principle, has changed. The way we make software, the way we release it, that has changed. And I think we are still going through the phases of adjusting to this new reality. You might have heard of vibe coding. A lot of people are talking about it on the web. And I had a great panel discussion with the Revelo team some time ago around AI development. That's also available on your channel. So I highly recommend people interested in that topic, check it out. But in summary, the way things are working now with vibe coding is that there is an expectation to be extremely fast and iterate faster and get things done much more quicker than we used to. And that's because of all of these cool tools that have come out that can help an engineer become a 10x engineer in no time. So that has been one of the, I wouldn't really call it a challenge, that has been an adjustment to how we do business. And I think we are still learning and improving. This whole area is still growing and changing. Every week you will see a new model or a new agent that you can try and experience, and there are good things and there are bad things, and we are adjusting to this new reality. But it's very exciting. I think I mentioned in my panel earlier that imagine that every developer in the world can be 4x. Some developers are reporting even 10x performance. But just imagine if we have 4x, how much more we can build, how much more we can deliver. I think it's incredible, and it's an exciting time, but it's at the same time, it's new. That's a great question. And I think in the past, what we have done is we always have tried to be more metrics-driven, more data-driven, more evidence-based. What we are seeing, when we're making decisions, we make them based on, what is this based on? And always look at that to kind of guide us. With AI, things have been changing so fast and so quickly. There's not a lot of data. There's some anecdotal data that we can look at, but a lot of that is also fluff and hype. So you have to cut through some of those decisions, some of those things when you're making decisions. For us, it's pretty much, make sure that the ground that you're standing on is solid whenever you're making a decision. And that has been, the key to any decision we make. When, for example, are we going to be using vibe coding to do this new feature or not? That kind of decisions is like, what is that based on? One of the key things I would like to highlight is, as a manager, you want to have your team on the same page as you. Once that is done, once that communication is complete, and you have the right people on the team, Jim Collins from Good to Great often will say that again and again, and which is, as a manager, your first job is to get the right people on the team. So if you have the right people on the team that you can trust and you can work with, then it's about experimentation, then looking at the results, and then adjusting. And then that scientific loop has to be done again over and over. That's the core tenet of any decision that we make here at Blitz. I think about this all the time, because you want to build a high-performing team. You want to build a team that can get stuff done quicker, deliver high-quality stuff. You want to build a team that will deliver products that will delight the customers, right? And whenever we are looking at a high-performance team in software engineering aspect, it's often discussed as how much code can you churn, how much product can you just push out. But I would argue that that's not the best way to look at it. A high-performance team is something that can deliver fast and quickly, but that's also relevant. That also has that ROI in their mindset about their investment. I would say all high-performance team begin initially with like the right set of people. Like I mentioned, a manager's job is to build a team where you get the right set of people on the bus and the wrong set of people off the bus. And by wrong, I don't mean wrong, but I mean it like if they don't fit the bill for what you're trying to achieve. So that would be the step one for me. If you're building a high performance team, you need to make sure people are on the bus. And then part two for that team is to be able to measure, to be able to look at their own work and figure out if they are performing. You can't really improve anything if you can't measure it. So being able to measure how much we are delivering when we are delivering it, that's the second tenet, I would say. And then there's a lot of iteration. So nothing really is one and done. There's a lot of iteration, or you improve something and then, okay, it improved us by X amount of, maybe it's an ROI, maybe it's cost reduction, maybe it's something else. And then you look at, okay, how do we improve it further down? One of the team members on my team, Andrew, he does that, embodies this very, very well, where he's looking at our infrastructure cost, and every week he has, okay, we can do this and improve this. All right, we got here. Okay, we can change this and we can improve this. And sometimes it's a huge win, sometimes it's a small win. And then we learn. I think this iteration is key to becoming truly high performing, and just not being satisfied, not just sitting on your laurels. That's just pushing yourself to do more. Since things are changing faster, we need to adjust to how to deal with it. Nowadays, a single developer can write a 4,000 line PR in a day. They can just turn it out, and then you will have to deal with the consequences of getting that reviewed, getting that merged, getting that tested. So now you're thinking about, we have a ton of this code, and who owns it? Who's responsible when that's breaking? Who is responsible when we want to change it further, right? AI is very good at generating a lot of code, but it's not good at long-term maintenance of that code yet. I mean, it will get there, I think. But at the moment, the way things are, an engineer still owns it. So we have to shift to this new reality that, sure, we can use AI tools, but now we need to make sure that we are still owning that piece. Every line of code that we are putting into the system is reviewed and owned by someone. And that's one of the biggest shifts I think we are dealing with. It's very interesting how Revelo really operated from the get-go. I have experiences working with a lot of, nearshore, offshore teams for, extending my own, or just increasing velocity, or just, scaling teams with, offshore, nearshore talent. Revelo is different because they never approached this relationship with a sense of making a sale. I mean, my first meeting with Revelo was just over some dinner and friends talking. And that really blew me away because they did not sell anything. Brian, who invited me, they were talking about stuff that we were working on. And there were some really smart people on the table who were experiencing or sharing their own stuff. I thought that was the most incredible thing I've seen in a while. If a company cares about a relationship that much, then definitely you will, I felt that definitely some worth my time to investigate more. And that's how our contact was initially made. The second part I really liked about Revelo was how the whole hiring process goes. So from sourcing to interviewing to getting someone on board, Revelo has been like a partner. I mean, your recruiters actually spend time understanding my requirements, just not from the tech perspective, like, C++, Java, PHP. It's more about, okay, what is the team that they are working in? What will be they doing? How will they fit in this? So I think that was pretty cool as well. I had a great time, discussing each and every role with the recruiter and how it will fit. And when we were rejecting candidates, it was not any frustration. It's like, what did we learn from this experience when we rejected? What caused it? And then taking that back and making sure we are optimizing for our search. So it was really cool. We hired two really great engineers that I think literally changed our teams. And we don't look at nearshore or offshore developers as someone who's working for. They're part of the team. They're attending the stand-ups. They're there with their camera on, talking about problems. So they really fit in the culture that we are trying to build here, which is not the culture of I do this and you do that. It's like the culture of let's huddle, let's talk, let's chat about what we're doing and be there. So great communication has been the key. So all of the people we have found have great communication skills. Of course, we always look for a solid tech base. So both of them have been great. for one of the AI products that we're working on, which is game texture generation product, we were looking for someone. It's funny because we were looking for someone who can do full stack development and have done Minecraft modding. This is very unique. And then, the recruiters, they were like, we can find you someone, no problem. And they did find someone, and, it has been great to work with them. In terms of changes to the team since we've started working, I think we are a little bit more open to nearshore development than before. The team, in the past have used more developers. It's been part of our sort of ecosystem for a while. But I think the level of engagement with some of the Revelo engineers have changed the mindset that how closely you can work with an offshore partner. I think that is something new, and how much you can rely on them. This has been, if you ask any tech leader, like how much do you rely on an offshore team, is like, okay, they're doing their thing. I'm gonna create a Jira task, they will implement and submit it tomorrow, and then I'll work with. I think that culture has changed a little bit. We're really starting to seeing them as our partner, where our future basically depends on them, and then theirs on ours. So it's that team dynamic. I think that's new. Of course, I wasn't super exposed to the Brazil market, to be honest with you. I've heard people in Ukraine, in India, in Pakistan, and all over the world, but this is the first time I'm really working with some engineers from Brazil. So that was pretty interesting, and I learned quite a bit about the geography, the people, and the food, and I think it has been pretty good. I would say put a lot of energy into hiring and working with the recruiter that just assigned to you to make sure they understand the full picture. Don't just pass on a job description document and say, I need 5 of, TypeScript people. Really go deep into how does your team work now. Really go deep into what you're trying to achieve. But because the way they operate is they're going to take that information and they're going to share that with the candidates that are interested, and they're going to find people who are really excited about what you're doing as compared to people who can just do the job. So work closely with them, make sure they have full knowledge about your culture. You might have heard like culture eats process. That's actually 100% true. So make sure that you're looking for, of course, that base skill that will meet your requirements, but also that they are going to be a culture fit, and that's only possible if you're working closely with your recruiter.